Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now, new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about Cal-Ben 5-star soaps for years. This is an American-made product of the highest quality and compares to nothing you will find in stores. You can buy factory direct, shipped via UPS right to your door. Check them out on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091. Take my word for it. Once you've used Pure Soap, you won't buy anything else. Since 1947, Cal-Ben Soap Company has been showing consumers that soap can be tough on dirt and gentle on the environment. Buy American and stay clean, as well as support InfoWars. Visit 5starsoap.com today or call 1-800-340-7091. Well, Marty, what do you have to say?
As founder and owner for over 63 years, satisfaction is guaranteed or double your dirt back. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog or visit our website, 5starsoap.com. Thank you.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
I have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
We're back live, and for the balance of this transmission, the next hour and a half, the conspiracy icon, as he's known, David Icke, is our guest. I agree with about 98% of what David Icke says. He's so articulate, former head of the Green Party in the UK, the best-selling author many times over, championship goalie, very articulate, can really put things in easy-to-understand ways. He can really take complex issues and do that. But David, gets into basically something we never cover, and that's interdimensional or extraterrestrial type entities. But, once something's out in the open, once I can start proving that at least it's being discussed, we're going to talk later at the start of the next hour about UFOs. U.S. Air Force officers testify on UFO sightings at National Press Club. They said they were turning off nukes. It continues. Churchill and Eisenhower agreed to cover up RAF planes UFO encounter during World War II. Secret files reveal. It just goes on from there. And more the media is hyping some type of alien landing. The UN announced last week they've appointed an ambassador to meet with the aliens. We are on a planet out in the middle of space here, orbiting the sun in the Milky Way galaxy in our little solar system here. And I want to talk to David about why they're, Larry King Live, all of them are basically saying, get ready for aliens to land. They've got all these TV shows like V and The Incident. And I know about Project Bluebeam, a program the government admits to fake UFOs. So we'll talk about that coming up in the next hour. First, I want to get into what's happening with the economy, the awakening that's happening. I want to ask David, he's been very busy, if he's seen this new video put out in England that they pulled by the 1010 Project, where it shows them murdering the children because they won't cut their carbon footprint, and murdering football players and murdering talk show hosts and murdering people in businesses. All these authority figures pushing a red button. The message is, we're your God, we control you. All these TV ads showing satellites watching citizens saying, we know where you are, Tom. The system has gone from denying that they have a murderous agenda to coming out and saying, we want eco-fascism. It isn't about global warming. It's about reducing population. You know, man is a parasite. Man is the enemy. They're teaching us to hate ourselves. So we'll talk about that with David as well next. But first, David, the economy, gold at $1,342 an ounce. The currency's going down, the open world government being announced, riots all over Europe against austerity. You've been proven right, Gerald Celente. So much of what you talked about 15, 16 years ago and were called a loon, it's all coming true. And right on the timeline, you said, David.
Well, I said in September 2008, Alex, when this first recent crash became clear, that there was a three-step game going on here. The first step was to crash the economy so that people could see there was a problem. The next stage was to get governments to empty their barrels, if you like, to empty their ability to respond to it financially by hurling enormous, fantastic cuckoo land amounts of money at the banking system, which was designed from the start to disappear, which, of course, the vast majority of it has. And the third stage, which I'm now waiting for, is when they make the judgment that it's optimum moment, they crash the economy again in a way that governments have no longer any means of responding to it, even in the ludicrous way they did in the last couple of years. And then the banking system itself will be stepping forward as the savior, and they'll say the only way of sorting out this global mess is ABCD, and it will be a global economic tyranny based on a world central bank in which a few people sitting around one table will dictate finance to every country. This, of course, is where we've been going all along. You know, if there's a few of you, and compared with the 7 billion we're supposed to have on this planet, it is an absolute tiny few that are in full awareness behind this conspiracy. And if they are going to reach their goal of a fully fledged global dictatorship, then they have to incessantly centralize power. And the more power they have, the more power they have over more and more people, and the more power they have centrally, the more power they have to then centralize even quicker. And this is why the speed of globalization in all areas of our lives has got faster and faster. And of course, the Rockefeller-Rothschild World Trade Organization is there to ensure that countries cannot defend themselves against the merciless world system, so that every country is dependent on forces and events that are outside their sphere of influence and outside their sphere of control and response. And this is the whole idea, to get everyone dependent on everyone else, so that the few people at the center running this system have power over every area of our lives. I was talking to a journalist yesterday in England, a mainstream journalist, who was like saying he's seeing it. The centralization of power in the media is now blatant, and we're now reaching that point I talked about 15 years ago, where the agenda that for decade after decade, indeed century after century, has operated in the shadows, there comes a point where it has to break the surface when it's getting close to its final goal, but close to introducing the new world it wants to. Well, that new world is eventually going to break the surface where we can actually see it. It has to, otherwise it can't become the new world. And we're now at that point, and this is why we have a point here, Alex, of tremendous challenge, but tremendous opportunity. Because it's becoming so blatant, more and more people are seeing what they couldn't see before. So it's a real fork in the road we're facing here.
And David, you said that brilliantly. and you didn't toot your horn properly. Yes, 2 years ago you said we're going to have the banker bailouts. That will exhaust the central governments, the state governments, the regional governments. They will then announce a new global currency, and that's in Reuters and AP today, the Bancorp, that will be digital, that then nations will have to borrow from the banks that's made up out of nothing. But if you go back to the Trilateral Commission, public documents from the 70s, they said, we will interconnect the world, we'll get everybody in debt, we will set it up where everybody's dependent on each other. We'll be outside of that as the global arbiters. Then we'll implode the world economy and announce the new one world government. And we have those documents. We have the Club of Rome, the UN, the Trilateral Commission, the CFR. And so everything we've talked about has come true because we were reading their playbook. And as you said, they denied it in public, though their white papers were available, but not, widely distributed. Now they're getting ready to have their full takeover, so they have to go ahead and admit it's all real, but say it's our savior. David, how do you see this playing out in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5? You say, and I tend to agree with you, that the main flash isn't 2012, but projecting the lines forward around 2015, 2016, the riots have already begun. The Pentagon admits global meltdown, but they say martial law is the answer when they've engineered it. The British Ministry of Defense says the same thing. The UN, they are getting ready for this. The rich are moving offshore to private redoubts and islands. They're hardening the police departments against the citizens. Google admits they're NSA and can, quote, predict the future and are surveilling everything we're doing. They're admitting they're taking our blood secretly at birth. They're admitting the vaccines are killing us, but they don't care. I mean, it's just all coming out, and people are being given a choice. Some people are waking up now that all of this is so apparent and saying Alex Jones, Ron Paul, David Icke, so many others were right, but others are choosing to then, out of fear, just accept the evil because it's so overwhelming. What's the psychological warfare point here, and what do you see happening in these phases?
Well, I think, first of all, Alex, is as you pointed out, if you're prepared to do the research and you're prepared to focus your life on this stuff over the years, you don't have to be a prophet because there's stuff's written down. I mean, we knew what was coming because it's there to find if you want to look for it. But we have reached this amazing point where people are finding, even those with their head in the sand. By the way, as I say in my new book, to have your head in the sand, you have to be on your knees, and the two things go together. And it's time we got off our knees, and to do that, first of all, we've got to get our heads out of the bloody sand and actually face what we're dealing with here. And we're at this amazing point now where they can't hide it anymore, and humanity is faced with a choice that will be more and more difficult for it to persuade itself and kid itself that there's not a choice to be made, because it's really not happening. It's just conspiracy theory. No, this is in our face now. So we're entering very fast, Alex, a totally new phase in this game, in this unfolding conspiracy to impose a global fascist communist state, because they're both masks on the same face anyway. And for me, we are going to continue to go down this road for some years yet, where it seems that this control system is going incessantly in the direction it wants to, and is unstoppable. But I am absolutely convinced that in the years between 2016 to 2020, that period, then there is going to be enough people who have awoken to this and can see this, that there's going to come a tipping point. And they are trying to... What they've been trying to do all these years, Alex, is to bring in the surveillance, the control, the data surveillance, the surveillance of where you go on the internet, surveillance of every area of your life, to bring in the more and more the militarization of law enforcement, even domestic law enforcement. It's happening all over the world. You see a policeman now, and often you can't tell them from the military.
And we see a total continuity of agenda where they do snatch and grabs in front of news cameras at the G20 in England, at Pittsburgh in the U.S., in Toronto in Canada. We see the same cameras, the same body scanners. We see global drills set up months ago for the surge on trains and bus stations and airports, and they admit it's a global drill that coincides with the latest scare of terrorism.